What's something super masculine that's wildly gay? As seen at a full nude strip club that serves liquor scene, woman dancing on the stage, three guys yelling at their friend, she's not going to go home with you. 10 minutes later, she's not going to go home with you. 5 minutes later, guys drag moneyless friend out. Me broke with my last single in the air and sipping my drink watching the show. I never understood this. I've been a few times here and there, and it's weird. Not gonna lie. The male strip club isn't even that much gayer, and it's usually packed with women. So if you can stomach seeing some dongs, you'll be more likely to find someone to bang that isn't gonna charge you, or be a ratchet-ass stripper. Think you misunderstand the implications of strip clubs. Sure, I don't doubt some guys go there to get a hard-on, but for the wealthy clientele, it's more of a power flex, like having a lion in a cage inside your house or a shark in your personal aquarium. Having beautiful women stripping and dancing while you discuss how you're going to screw over your workers for the year is how those people roll. As Frank Underwood put it, everything in the world is about sex, except for sex. Sex is about power. When I went to strip clubs, I liked how the girls would come to our table and talk and be interested in me. Do you know how often hot girls sat and conversed with my otherwise? I'm not gross by any means, but it's just rare. Then she goes on stage and I throw $20 worth of ones at her, or pay $30 for her to dance on me. It's a unique experience that I'm not saying is for everyone, but to act like you can't fathom why people enjoy it shows major immaturity. As a non-male, I rather enjoy the seedy background of strip clubs. Many serve delicious food, especially steaks, and I'm not gay. I happen to have fond memories of tagging along with male friends and all the unexpected adventures that came with the experience. Some of those girls are still friends to this day, lol. This is just a personal theory, but I think it's because men don't get a lot of validation from people. How often do men get compliments? The gym ends up being a safe place to have feelings and express them because you are safe with the group. We are social creatures, and we need that social validation and support, and it is severely lacking, especially for men and boys. I have been trying to break out of this mentality. I realize that I will think something nice, and not say it because I don't want to be weird. Well, I stopped caring about being weird and will tell people, I love your shoes, or, your makeup is amazing. People light up. I remember telling a guy at a school fair his shoes were amazing. And they fucking were, and his smile was beautiful. I hope we can one day normalize compliments that are just that. I get it can be harder for guys sometimes because it can be taken as flirting. I also know I can say things freely to kids while he can't always, even when he is with our kids, which is a damned shame because he is an amazing father. One time when I was on the treadmill for my long run, about 2 hours, a guy came up to me and was super positive about how I was running when he got there. He did his whole lift and cardio routine, and I was still there running. My wife gives me supportive comments all the time, but it hit different coming from a dude at the gym. One of my happiest moments was me doing my routine. I spoke to almost no one at the time, and one of the regulars who is seen almost every time over the past 7 months give me a nod and say, "Hey, nice results," as they filled up their water bottle. Either way, congrats on sticking to it. Running like that for a while like that is brutal, and one of the hardest things for me to mentally make myself do. There's a guy at my gym who does the same thing, and has the most stereotypical girly form you're ever seen, but he's grinding away at 7-8 mph the whole time. As you struggle to maintain a steady 6 miles per hour, you start wondering if flailing your arms about like he does would help you get that extra burst of speed and stamina. I mean, an unsolicited dick pic doesn't sound so bad. On a scale of 1 to the worst thing I could be forced to see unsolicited, a dick is maybe a 2, and that's if it's ugly. On the other hand, getting harassed regularly with them, that I could see getting annoyed by. I always give my guy friends compliments. I'm bisexual, and they are aware of my sexuality. They love getting compliments from me, and I love giving compliments to other guys just out of being a nice person. Your hair looks good. IFW the outfit. Little stuff like that is a big deal for guys cause guy always try and meet these fake-ass masculine guidelines that other men created. Yeah, can't really remember the last time I got a compliment from a girl, The first thing that comes to my head is, you have great handwriting for a boy. Still to know if that's mocking me a joke or a compliment, but I like to think it's a compliment. However, from the boys and gym lads, it's, bro, you are so sexy. How the faff you not got a girlfriend? Stuff like that. Obviously, I don't expect the sexy stuff from girls like the guys do, but still. So this is why I only spend my time around boys. Might as well turn gay. I have a weird relationship with working out. While I enjoy it and do like seeing how I'm getting stronger and measurements are getting bigger, but at the same time, I wonder if I'm really lifting for me or what people want to see. When I go traveling for weeks or months, I tend to lose a lot of mass. So when I get back, I've had a few people ask when I got so scrawny then no longer as interested in me as they were before I left. Something that shouldn't bother me, but when you've seen interest do a complete 180, or you see your value go down dramatically in someone else's eyes so quickly it sticks with you. So I tend to wonder if I'm working out for me, or because others enjoy it when they see the results. Plus, you do get that validation from pushing yourself on a regular basis, so you get so much positive reinforcement on building muscle, which you rarely get anywhere or anything else to that level. I am so sorry that happened to her. That is sadly true. I had a few guys follow me around in college who eventually got the hint thanks to friends who helped me navigate that. There are risks of putting yourself out there, and I don't fault anyone for not doing it. It's about what feels appropriate and comfortable in the situation. Just because I like looking at thick, solid, tight male bodies doesn't make me any bit gay. The way the sweat glistens off their hard muscles in a way that makes my body ache with desire to be like them, the feeling I get thinking about touching their six-pack abs. There's nothing gay about it. Licking my lips and softly moaning to myself when I watch them compete is just an autonomous reflex, that's all. I get compliments from my male and female friends alike. I don't doubt the collective experiences of Reddit, but I'm not sure why my experience has been so different. I've also never had a problem interacting with children, albeit I only interact with relatives' children. I don't know if it's because I grew up in a relatively educated and cosmopolitan place, or maybe it's some kind of pretty privilege, not that I'm particularly good looking, but still. The gym thing, honestly, I think you're overthinking it. Men who work out are the ones who really appreciate how difficult it is to get a certain level of musculature strength. So naturally, it's their peers complimenting them more, and it's the other muscular guys whose approval means more to an aspiring weightlifter anyway. It's the same way that a 14-year-old basketball player would rather have the approval of LeBron James than a random girl in his high school lol. I've seen various webcomics showing dudes that are either muscular or have a motorcycle to get women, and all the attention they get is from other men. My colored hair has gotten me more positive comments from women than my chest in a tank top. Bodybuilding is some of the peak masculinity out there. Certainly tons of insecurity, but calling it gay is silly. Typically unhealthy or very unconfident men tease bodybuilders or gym goers. In a world of such a staggering percentage of men who are both physically and mentally unwell, the gym and bodybuilding is honestly a breath of fresh air. I was dating a girl from a small farm town in the southwest I'm from, and we were living in an East Coast city when we went to visit her hometown. She took me out to a legit country bar with a racetrack dance floor around the area for line dancing, a band with lap steel guitar. Basically, the whole 9 yards. A lot of the guys there were cowboys on their big Saturday night out. Men with those thick mustaches, polished boots, tight jeans, obviously physically fit through their tight western dress shirts, and dancing around the track to country waltzes like Fred Astaire. I thought it was hilarious, because if you transported these guys to where we were living, the assumption would be that they were absolutely flaming. So as a wrestler, I want to point out that it's literally a fight, and once you start you realize it's not gay-like at all. That said, you and your best friends beating the shit out of each other to the point of exhaustion every day really breaks down boundaries. Looking back, we were pretty gay when I was in high school BC again. Boundaries, your best friends, you all know you're straight, so you don't care what anything looks like as long as it's funny. Now, as a coach, holy shit, I legit think some of these kids would take one in the ass if it had a funny enough punchline, and those are the actually straight ones. Wrestling isn't gay, but wrestlers don't give any f's how gay they act. The boys. Honestly, it's extremely positive. I mean, some coaches are dickbags and way too hard on the kids or coach them to hurt others, but it really is a generally positive environment in most schools. I've played and been around nearly every normal high school sport, and while most are positive, nothing even comes close to the Bond wrestlers build. My area is pretty low income, so nearly all our kids come from some kind of broken home life. For them, wrestling is the most family they have, and for us as coaches, the loyalty we get from these kids is unreal because of it, which usually translates well both on the mat and in the classroom. There's a good chance our team is the only thing that got some of these kids to graduate, kept them out of jail. Surprised I had to scroll so far to find this answer. It's super common for soldiers to be the gayest straight men they can be for a laugh. There's not much else to entertain them, especially on deployment, and in its weird way builds a brotherhood. Useless, I don't get it. I was deployed twice and had a steady piece of tits and ass both times. Granted, I wasn't infantry, and I'd imagine they had it tougher. Facking around and playing grab ass is one thing, but I always had a woman on deployments. My gay friend had an absolutely amazing bit about this after he had a few drinks. He kept saying, "Why do people think gay dudes are effeminate? What could be manlier than one dude plowing another? There are twice as many dicks as in straight sex, so it's more masculine than default. Plus, straight dudes like women who are soft and small and have boobs and are just very unmanly. Straight dudes are the effeminate ones." The rest of us could not stop cracking up. The fact that homosexuality and masculinity are historically very similar is my favorite thing. It's weird how modern times have considered it not masculine. Y'all ever read the Epic of Gilgamesh? So homoerotic it makes Top Gun look straight as a ruler. Football, a whole bunch of really fit guys hang out all the time after school, wear super tight clothing, huddle, tackle, jump all over each other, all try to grab the other guy's balls, then shower together. Seriously gay. But for some reason, being a male cheerleader hanging with women and holding them up in the air by their vagina is gay. Yeah, okay. So I went to high school with this gay guy, R, who didn't come out until we were both at the same university. He was a couple years behind me, but I was lifelong friends with his older sister who had been into competitive cheerleading basically her entire life. So I'd spent a lot of time around him growing up. Let's just say that few people were less surprised than me when he came out. He would always be trying to get involved with his sister's stunt groups and dance groups during practices. Unfortunately, his dad had heavily ingrained gender stereotypes and basically forced R to play basketball exclusively. Anyway, R's freshman year of college, he comes out to everyone, starts hitting the gym harder than literally anyone else I knew, and became a male cheerleader. It turned out that he was the only gay male cheerleader on the university team at the time, and I got the chance to ask several members of the team if that distinction had any impact on chemistry among squad mates. Every single person I asked said, no. Turns out that it takes quite a bit of trust to let someone hurl your body or a close friend dozens of feet in the air and know they're going to safely catch you no matter what. That's a massive responsibility for the guys, so a lot of them were so focused on it that the hand placement thing never entered into it. Plus, even the hetero male cheerleaders tended to get caught up in the group bonding, so any potential relationships within the team were viewed as kinda incestuous. But it was really awesome to hang out with those guys every so often, because they were constantly surrounded by gorgeous, adventurous young women. So as long as you didn't comport yourself like a creep when you were invited along to some function, you'd get to experience some uniquely entertaining parties. Male cheerleaders and gymnasts are fucking cool in my limited experience. Gets really gay if you're a ranger or in other special ops. I don't understand it, but touching balls and slinging dick is a rite of passage. I'd rather get titty slapped, but I don't make the rules. Guess telling someone else they're gay in a better, more funny way is how you climb the corporate ladder. Guess if you can't defend yourself against a gay joke with a better gay joke, you're on obviously gay. A number of sports. Rugby, a bunch of butch men grabbing each other in thin clothing, grunting and sweating. Boxing, two men punching each other all sweaty and barely clothed. wrestling, two or more men fighting in skin-tight clothing, grappling and grabbing at each other, grunting and dripping in sweat. Manly and gay are very different concepts. For example, skate, very manly, but not gay. It's a guy skating about, but he has blades on his feet. Tennis, neither manly nor gay. Oh, what you're thinking, but it seems to only be the women who grunt and moan as they return a serve. It's a concept I've held for a long time, and it's rung true for a while. I'm sorry, but bodybuilding, you're waxed, hairless, greased up, and posing half naked, straining your muscles, and grunting around a bunch of other waxed, hairless, greased up, posing, grunting men. Which is probably awesome for men that are gay, and also into bodybuilding. But as a bi woman from the outside looking in, that's fruity as favk. Conversion camps, I'm not making a joke. They pride themselves on the doctrine that you can get rid of the gay in a man if you force masculinity on them. It doesn't work. Everyone, males and females at conversion camps, are secretly burst out of the closet wearing a pride flag as pants. And nothing else, coming out in a ball of glitter indoor scarf kinda people. And if that offended anyone who may read this, I know exactly what kind of person you are, because I am too. Panwo Feltewerth isn't just a sly reference to an obscure 1970 seconds movie. Love is love if that's what you give. Love your kids, people. Conversion camps are evil and need to stop being supported. Okay, rant over. I'm gonna answer the next question with, why the hell do people think men dancing ballet is gay? Yes, the height of homosexuality is truly being a man constantly surrounded by athletic women in very intimate situations and tight clothes for some reason. The real answer, of course, is old westerns and a lot of horror movies, which is probably why we the gays love horror movies. Not wearing a shirt in public, it's one of the few displays of your body in Western culture that women cannot do that men can. Super masculine, but not sure if it's gay. I've been to more shirtless gay bars than straight bars, but not sure every man without a shirt is gay, or if gay men really want a shirtless man. Car culture and manufacturer ads. Buying a fast car leads to attractive women in cocktail dresses admiring it. In real life, literally the only people who will comment on your fast or collectible car are dudes wearing work boots and high-vis vests at gas stations. Interesting cars attract male attention. Two extremely buff and extremely masculine men being married with adopted children having the hottest sex of their lives on the open deck of a sailboat during a full moon a few km away from the coast of France, while the kids are with their loving Loptkia plus allied grandparents. Full Metal Jacket was the gayest movie ever. All the drill sergeant could talk about was sucking dick, marching circuits in their underwear holding their dick. Nobody has ever been able to explain how that makes you a better solider. The only woman in the movie is a Vietnamese hooker, who turns out to be a VC that they kill in the climax of the movie. Then they march off happily, singing a Disney song, happy to be alone with their fellow men again. As a married dude, also friends with mostly married dudes, we straight up flirt, all joking shitty talk, but we see you can escalate until it gets uncomfortable, but it's just hilarious to us. Our wives, bystanders. It's hilarious to watch the reaction. I think being prior military leans into it. These folks are closer to family than just buddies. Always hilarious though. The wives used to be taken aback. Now, they play into it too. As an history student, ancient Greeks were fucking gay. All of them. The movie Troy lied to you. Achilles was not with a woman, he was with his, maybe cousin, god. That sounds wrong. By the way, hoplitic fighting was why after archaic Greece, and the combats during archaic Greece were mostly heroic. Maybe one aristocrat fighting another aristocrat. So these large crews behind with hoplite material are bad, and overall the movie is inaccurate. Ancient Rome is also pretty fucking queer. These guys were obsessed over virility. And what heterosexual explication is there to Cassius' suicide? Because he thought Brutus was dead. If it was for the cause, Cassius was more experimented than Brutus, and he could have won over the second triumvirate. So the heroic ancient warrior is hella homoromantic. Basically, any male action hero from the 1970s, mid-1980s. They're usually topless, oiled up for no reason, and wearing some kind of leather trousers or jacket, no shirt underneath. possibly with metal spikes or rhinestones on said leather attire. Or Undefeatable, great bad martial arts movie starring Cynthia Rothrock, but at the end, she gets injured fighting the bad guy, so her male friend steps in to finish the fight. Up until this point, everyone had their clothes on. Then when the two guys square each other up, they inexplicably remove their tops before fighting. I mean, love it. But so gay. I used to make fun of my hyper-macho reens back in college by telling them that the sport they loved to play and watch on TV involved a bunch of dudes wearing armor with skin-tight capri pants who celebrated a good play by slapping each other's butt. They did not like that comment. Now, everyone in the front row, bend over with your legs spread and put your arms around each other. Next row, wrap your arms around the front rows, thighs as high up as you can, and nestle your head in between the legs of the two guys in front of you. Now everybody push. Grunting noises are encouraged as it shows you are trying. I think it's important to remember that masculinity and sexual orientation are two separate things. Just because something is traditionally associated with masculinity doesn't mean that only straight people can do or enjoy it. There are plenty of masculine things that are loved and embraced by people of all sexual orientations. It's harmful to try to confine masculinity to a specific sexual orientation or gender identity, and we should be more inclusive and open-ended in our definitions of what is masculine or feminine. Let's celebrate and embrace masculinity in all its forms, regardless of who is expressing it. Heavy metal leathers. Judas Priest frontman Rob Halford was hella gay, and he needed a costume for his show, so he went to a BDSM shop and bought leathers from there. Since then, everyone has been copying him, and lemme tell ya, the heavy metal scene never looked more fabulous. Everything straight American men do is pretty gay. They care so much more about the opinion of other men than they do the opinion of the women they claim to be into. In almost every aspect of life, the sports they watch, the friends they have, the content they consume, and they prefer men to women. Additionally, they hate on hetero relationships and marriage to women, and make blanket jokes about how women bring they down and annoy them, ball and chain. Even more, they sexualize youth to the point of obsession and pedophilia. Less developed a woman is, the better. Why? Buddy, wake up and smell the matcha. You don't like women, and that is literally what being gay is. The end. Junior high and high school football was the gayest experience of my life. In junior high, 8th and 9th grade, we literally had a big glass window between the coach's office and the locker room that I'm sure was put in place so the coaches could take countless ganders at our young boy buttholes. This progressed to high school, where we would shower together literally any time we could. We'd all put in a fat dip chewing tobacco and sit in the shower shooting the tea, taking turns pissing in the drain to see who had the strongest flow. Pretty standard stuff. One time, kid got caught allegedly with a half chub, and that was it for him. Poor guy. Oh, and of course plenty of Dutch rudders to go around. Just cowboy boots alone. Those are expensive, completely impractical and uncomfortable boots with high heels. And if you're getting ready to type how really comfortable cowboy boots are if you find the right designer and fit and break them in properly, then you're really proving the point. I find this kind of odd. It's okay to make jokes about bodybuilding being inherently gay because it's men enjoying other men's physiques, but when women compliment each other's appearances, no one ever says, even jokingly, that she's lesbian. These are the kinds of things that seem harmless and funny, but I think do contribute to so-called toxic masculinity.